I never wanted this for her, but the world has a way of pushing people into roles they never asked for. He paused for a moment, and the flight attendant could see the pain in his eyes, the pain of a father who had done everything in his power to protect his daughter, but had still watched her be shaped by forces far beyond his control. She's had to be strong, because there was no one else to be strong for her. He said, his voice breaking slightly as the weight of his words settled into the air between them. The flight attendant could feel the emotion in the room growing thicker with every passing second. She had assumed so many things about the girl. She had thought her silence was something to be fixed, something to be corrected, but now she realized it was a shield away for the girl to protect herself from a world that had been too harsh, too unforgiving. She had learned to be quiet, because the noise of the world was too loud and too painful to endure. For the first time, the flight attendant felt like she truly understood the girl in front of her, not as a child who refused to speak, but as a person who had learned to carry a weight too heavy for most adults to bear. And in that moment she realized that she had never given her the credit she deserved. The girl turned then, her eyes meeting the flight attendant's for the first time since their conversation began, and there was something different in her gaze, something that made the flight attendant's heart skip a beat. It wasn't pity or sadness. It was something far more powerful. It was recognition, as if the girl was saying without words, "I know you understand now." And then, as quickly as it had come, the moment passed, the girl turned back to the controls and resumed her quiet focus on the task at hand. But the flight attendant knew that everything had changed. Between them, the silence no longer felt cold or distant. It felt like an unspoken understanding, something that tied them together in ways that words never could. Captain Parker placed a hand gently on his daughter's shoulder and looked back at the flight attendant with a quiet smile. "She may not speak much, but she's listening," he said softly. "And that's the most important thing." The cockpit was silent now. The hum of the plane seemed to fade into the background as the flight attendant stood there, still processing everything she had just learned. She had thought she understood the world so clearly before, but now everything felt different. It was as though the very fabric of reality had shifted around her, and she was standing in a new world, one where silence didn't mean weakness, and where a quiet child could hold the reins of an aircraft that carried hundreds of lives through the sky. She glanced at Captain Parker, who was still standing beside her, his expression unreadable, yet filled with a quiet strength. She couldn't fully comprehend. He had told her about his daughter's past, about the struggles she had faced, the loss, the pain, and how through it all she had learned to be strong in a way that was almost otherworldly, but there was still something in the air, something unspoken,